Hey, y'all, my name is Grayson King. I'm the president of the IFC. Welcome back to the 18th episode of the IFC Podcast. Today, our guests are the awesome men of Pi Kappa Alpha.
Yeah. My name is Scott Brewer. I currently serve as the Director of Expansion for Pi Kappa Alpha's International Headquarters. It is my job to steward along our expansion team, work with universities, and develop our relationships to return to schools or for the first time, then conduct those expansion projects, and then get our chapters expansion project the very beginning to a chapter. I'm a founding father and 2021 initiate of our MuSci chapter at Boise State, and I make up half of our expansion. Half is Zach.
My name is Zach Brown. I'm our Senior Director of Expansion. In short, my job is to oversee the entire expansion department, navigating returns or first-time expansions to universities, what that process is supposed to entail, explore what our strategy should be, as well as manage our site while on site, our staff while on site. I'm originally from San Diego, California. Went to San Diego State, where I was a founding father of my own Pike chapter. I live in Memphis, Tennessee, where our headquarters is on the second hole of TPC Southwind. Thanks for having us.
Of course, thank you for coming. So, we're going to begin with some opening background questions. For those of you who don't know, listening to this, describe what it means to be a member of Pi Kappa Alpha. Like, what are your values? What do you look for when you're recruiting men? And just like overall, what's a good way to describe Pike?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I guess just to start, a little bit of background on Pike on a national level.
Yeah.
We were founded in 1868 at University of Virginia. We're headquartered in Memphis, Tennessee. We have over 205 chapters and provisional chapters across North America now, 17,000 current members. We're in 47 states and 2 Canadian provinces. And our headquarters are in Memphis. So we're a short drive down. When we do these projects and when we recruit members, the main characteristics we look for are scholarship, leadership, drive, and character. First of those is scholarship. We look for men that place the top priority on academics. Leadership, we look for men that are going to be leaders in our organization and the community wider than that. And drive, we look for men that are driven and competitive and are striving to be the best versions of themselves. And the fourth is character. So we ask people in the community who we should be recruiting, because a guy can be smart, he can be a leader, he can be driven, but if he's not really a good person, then we don't really want him in the organization.
And do you have anything to add on that?
I think that's perfect. Yeah, really, scholarship, leadership, driving character are the key characteristics that we look for in all of our chapters. So those are, I would say, like.
I got you. Where were y'all? What chapter was y'all like the first one founded at? What campus?
University of Virginia.
Did you say that? Sorry.
Yeah.
You're good.
Let's go with another question. Well, you answered that one. So, what makes you personally want to bring Pike back on campus here at Ole Miss?
So historically speaking, at Ole Miss, our Gamma Iota chapter is what it was called. It was founded in 1927. It was open for a little short of 100 years. We have 3,200 roughly alumni that were initiated at this chapter previously. So one of the largest chapters historically of the fraternity. So why we want to bring it back, there's a history and a legacy of Pike here at Ole Miss. Prior to the closure, our chapter had taken home 5 Excellence Awards and a Smythe Award, which is being the top achieving chapter in the fraternity. So to say that this was one of the more successful chapters of the fraternity for a long time would be accurate. Now, there's a reason that we're not here, that the chapter wasn't following along with our standards, and ultimately we had to end that 100 almost year relationship, but in order to return now. So because of a history and a legacy on campus, not to mention Ole Miss is a growing school. You guys are a huge Greek community, the biggest recruitment that I've heard in the country.
Number one.
That's right.
Number one.
And in a day and age of shrinking enrollment, declining enrollment across all campuses, to see a community that's growing, that's somewhere that we want to be a part of. And we're blessed to be able to have a choice of where we're expanding and where we're starting chapters at. We want to be in places that it makes more sense for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, happy to have you back. Usually fraternities at Ole Miss are always the best. I'm not saying that just because I go here, but I mean, you can look at them and you can see everyone here is great. I mean, and the more the merrier. So
Love it.
we'd love to see y'all. We're excited to see y'all thrive and just incorporate back into the community. So, what have the past few years looked like for the organization leading up to this return? What have y'all been up to, like alumni-wise, and just obviously I know there's a lot of planning that goes into. Well, it's not rechartering, but Is that the
Yeah.
word, rechartering?
Yeah,
That's exactly.
For rechartering a fraternity. So what have y'all been up to?
Sure. So from an international level, we launched our Reimagine Fraternity campaign, which was in some ways a refounding the organization. We did a deep dive into what's the fraternity's relevance, where do we need to be focusing ourselves on our campuses. We came out with 5 key strategic objectives from that, which I could talk ad nauseum about. But the main one that I think is probably useful in this situation is recommit to health and safety. Not that we weren't committed before, but in a different direction. We hired a full-time health and safety staff. We doubled the health and safety staff, actually, from part-time to then 2 full-time staff members. We've invested in partnerships with the JED Foundation on a national level. A lot of things that probably we could, us fraternity nerds could talk about. But I think that's the most maybe relevant to the conversation in terms of a national level. On a local level, we've maintained the house within an alumni structure. We've changed over who's in charge of the house. We're recruiting an alumni advisory board, and we're in the process of charting an alumni association, like an official alumni chapter.
Yeah.
So to say that there's excitement around Ole Miss from our alumni is an understatement. So while we've been preparing our staff, while we've been preparing an effort to recruit students here this coming fall, our alumni have been busy at work trying to organize themselves, collect money, and do what they need to do to support the chapter.
Yeah, and I think also, Zach had mentioned the figure of our growth. Talked about, the 17,000 plus men that are currently in our organizations, and so a lot of that has been strategic growth over year after year. I think Ole Miss has been doing the same thing, and part of that is also rechartering chapters. Talked about that being this case would be here. I believe in the last 4 to 5 years we've rechartered about 25 groups.
Mm-hmm.
So growth has certainly been on our mind and on our focus as an organization.
Good. Yeah, no, a lot of buzz going around right now talking about the return. So yeah, I was gonna ask how the
Good to
alumni
hear.
got involved, but answer that question. So what do you think your biggest priorities are as you rebuild from the ground up? What do you plan on really pushing for your guys once they're back on campus?
Yeah. I think what it boils down to is this is a brand new opportunity for any student that's not already within the Greek organization to create what they would like to see, optimal, best group collection of what makes Ole Miss so great. So how can we best reflect the culture that is here in Oxford and contribute positively to the community as a whole? And so they'll be participating in all of the same things IFC groups are doing, competing with one another and also sharing in a lot of different events and such, taking up a lot of traditions with the other IFC groups together that they all get to participate in. I think just right off the bat, being a positive contributor, figuring out what their culture is, making sure that's a very positive one.
Could we potentially see a Pike Hoops team in the fall?
Oh man, absolutely. In terms of intramurals and stuff.
Well, so we have a big, it's our fall philanthropy event.
Yeah.
Where it's basically it's a fraternity basketball tournament.
And you absolutely will see one.
Perfect.
And athletics is definitely tied to Pike,
Mhm.
kind of all around. And so I think I'd like to participate in everything. Chance to.
That'd be good. Yeah, we the IFC, we usually our philanthropy tournaments revolve around competitive stuff.
I love it.
Like athletics. Like we had a golf tournament a couple weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
Went really well. So yeah, that was a good question. So what are your goals for the upcoming year? You got any numbers you want, or any statistics that you're looking for?
Sure. So ultimately, we want to be at a place that's comfortable and competitive with the size of the other fraternities. So I don't know exactly what we'll end up at this fall, but something that is within the mix of the other fraternities. I don't know if we need to be getting 350 men right off the bat, fall rush. We want to be at a place where our men can be comfortable scaling up from there. So somewhere between 100 and 200. I know that's a large range, but I would say that's from a size standpoint what we're looking to do. The group will get to decide once we do the full recruitment program this fall, both with formal rush and in the recruitment effort that happens after bid day. They'll get to set their own goals. So that'll include philanthropy, that'll include community service, what they're actually going to get to pay for dues, what they want the GPA to be, what they want the expectation to be for attending chapter meetings, and even attending our Pike University events, our international conferences. So while we have our own internal goals of what we want to accomplish the semester that we're here as a staff, we'll let the actual students decide what they want to accomplish after that.
And a big part of it too is establishing that leadership structure. It's going to be a huge opportunity for a lot of students to jump into a leadership role right away. So making sure that those men are set and certainly set to scale with the size of the groups here, they can be just as successful as.
And I was gonna ask, so as the nationals, are y'all gonna kind of like place someone in charge, or is that gonna be the up to the discretion of the students and the new members? Like they're gonna be the ones that are gonna get up there and talk about, I think I should be president. I think I should be this. I think I should be that. Is that how that like? Is there gonna be any influence from y'all, or is that gonna be purely up to the students?
Yeah, so our staff will be selecting those leaders. Kind of up to them. Exact process. We don't necessarily have like an ABC for what you must do, but they'll be working with the students there, and of course, getting to know them over the project, and then I'd imagine some kind of application process on the internal side. Be going through deciding who down from the president to all the areas.
How long is the nationals planning on being around? At least like directly involved. Is that gonna be like a semester thing, a full year, or potentially like just don't know yet, or?
So we'll have two of our expansion consultants, as we call them. They'll be camped out on campus for anywhere from 2 to 3 months. We're still working out the exact timeline.
So around a semester?
Around a semester, yeah, exactly. So once they leave the provisional chapters, we call it, they'll start operating on their own. They'll start doing philanthropy events. They'll start playing intramurals. They'll start doing all the fun stuff. We'll have staff that come in and visit about every month or two. Considering we're only an hour and a half away in Memphis, we have that opportunity. And we want to make sure that things are going well. Once they get chartered, which lasts that period is about a year to year and a half long, then we'll start to pull back a little bit on the support, but we'll still visit twice a year.
Mm-hmm. All right, yeah. So like, what kind of experience do you want your new members to have from day one? Are there any things that you can like kind of? Obviously, I know y'all don't want to like give away all your plans already, but
Sure.
Do you have any like events that you could think of? Like, are there Pike national events? I know certain fraternities like Sigma Chi on campus recently had Derby Days. Is there like a Pike equivalent of that where it's like a week-long
exciting.
philanthropy event, or
So
just like an event that's known across all the Pike chapters?
So on philanthropy, you're right? We do not have a set national philanthropy because we allow all of our local chapters to decide what's closest to their hearts. So that's going to be up to the chapter when we're deciding factors. In terms of an event they can look forward to, Pike University events is something, just because those are regional, so kind of all over, as well as some hosted in Memphis. Pretty easy for our guys down here to make it up to. And those are really cool. Those are where you can not only network with other Pikes from all over the country and Canada for our brothers up north.
Do the Canada guys come down a lot?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
That's cool.
But then also just learn from our staff and other leadership speakers that we bring in, various alumni and such from different industries that can help, not only provide some just personal development, professional development too. In terms of what new member will experience from day one, Zach and I were both founding fathers. My experience being a founding father, I thought it was excellent to be able to build something up from the ground, right? And just kind of brick by brick, be able to see what you're building flourish into success and then maintain for a consistent period of time. I think that's just going to be great for these guys to be able to figure out what I talked about, kind of the culture piece, to develop their own culture and navigate what that's going to look like, and eventually be a fully chartered chapter and see the results of that pay off, and be able to continue it.
When does the chapter become quote unquote fully chartered?
So that'll be around 12 to 18 months after the start, or I guess the conclusion of the project. They'll be working through their provisional period, but on our own side, they'd be completing what is called the petition to install, which in short is kind of like a resume of documentation. It's about how the chapter's performing, how they perform. So what your programming looks like, how does the recruitment chairman carry out his tasks, what does his team look like? So once that has gone through a few phases and drafts, they would be submitting it to our headquarters staff for review. It would be sent up to our Supreme Council to make the final vote to charter this group or not, and then return back and proclaim their title as the Gamma Iota chapter of Pi Kappa.
So during that time period before they're fully chartered, is there like a name, like or future Gamma Iota, or is it just like
Sure, the provisional chapter of Pi Kappa Alpha at Ole Miss, the provisional chapter, Gamma Iota, it's like they're earning that designation back in a way, and those men will be initiated when that time comes.
Interesting. And so going back, I know you said y'all don't have a national philanthropy. So does that mean that for like the year, or like as like once y'all found and you like pick your first philanthropy, is that means it's set, or is it up to change?
And they have the freedom to, if they'd like to have a long-standing connection, amazing. They'd like to swap around and semester by semester, maybe always one for the fall and one set for the spring. By all means, it's cool. I know Pike, sometimes it's synonymous with the fire department and the fire truck stuff. So that's a typical one that our new groups usually like to gravitate towards. That's excellent.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are there any like ones that are pretty common? You know, what were the ones y'all your chapter sponsored, or not sponsored, worked with?
We did the fire department.
Y'all fire department, okay.
We did a fireman's challenge. We sponsored the Burn Institute of San Diego. So fire related. I know the fireman is the unofficial mascot of Pi Kappa Alpha. The fire truck. A lot of old chapters have fire trucks. We can get into a whole history of that, but
I suppose I never heard that
it's
before.
a long time ago. So a lot of chapters end up doing that just because it's fun. It's a week of events. You get to involve the local community, invite the fire department out, and it's just a good time.
Like, what are you looking forward to, or what are you looking for when you're checking out like all the leadership options for a man? Like, you know, if someone's coming into Pike, they might be an upperclassman. They think they've got some experience being a student here. They think that they could lead the chapter. Like, what do you think? If like let's say someone listening to this had those qualities, like what are the ones that y'all are actually looking for?
Sure. So the leadership structure of the chapter is we got 9 executive board officers, 15 chairmen that serve underneath the 3 vice presidents. We have a whole bunch of different cabinets and committees and subcommittees and all that stuff. So there's plenty of opportunities for people to get involved. In terms of like high level leaders, while the organization chart may look very similar to some of the other already established chapters on campus, we're not going to enter with a house. We're going to enter with a smaller group, a smaller chapter size than the other fraternities. We won't have the relationships around the community. We won't have intramural teams built. So the leaders that we recruit, and hopefully that we're attract to this, are ones that are willing to build something that didn't exist before, are willing to be someone in certain ways entrepreneurs and building something from scratch with a playbook, but it's up to them to execute. So I think it's gonna be a little bit different type of student rather than someone that has to manage a 200 to 300 man chapter that has 100 years unbroken history with alumni that come back every game day and a multi-thousand square foot home to manage as well. We'll get there one day, but our leaders that we recruit this coming fall are going to need to be guys that are comfortable operating in an unknown environment with a set of, again, parameters, but willing to figure it out and willing to be the one to chart the course.
So going back to, if you are allowed to talk about it, I don't know how much like stuff is secret, but I know you said 9. What are the term like 9?
The executive board.
The executive board, and then you said the 3 vice presidents. Is that like included in the 9 executive board members, or can you like give us the names and titles of that, or?
Yes, so you'll have an external vice president who's handling the chapter, and then his opposite side is the internal vice president. For some examples, I guess like the brotherhood and the alumni relations side is more the internal, more the social and the special events and media and marketing would be on the external side. Those are vice president of membership development. So that's a new position that we had crafted together because we believe in continued education. So that's a position that has his own cabinet of educators. So instead of education stopping for a member just in their first couple weeks or semester, we believe in trying to provide personal professional development to our chapters throughout their experience. So how can we best set up the local level for our chapters for sophomores, freshmen, sophomores, and carrying on to juniors and seniors to learn applicable skills, organizational skills, and how to balance a schedule in college. And then for the juniors and seniors, maybe I'm learning how to get the job, how to go and apply for an internship.
Yeah, that's definitely really interesting because I mean, I know a lot of chapters here. What they'll do is they'll have like the jobs you just posted or just talked about were are specifically designated. Like I know a lot of I know like a lot of fraternities have social chairs. So for y'all as external vice president, that would fall on his responsibility.
Yeah,
and then they'd also be a brotherhood chair, which is also the
internal side.
Yeah. So that's definitely a cool thing. You know, I know a lot of the fraternities have different ways of calling like their presidents, stuff like that. It's interesting to learn like kind of the internal structure of fraternities.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, some of that stuff like obviously no one really, unless you're in the fraternity, doesn't know. I mean, I just think it's kind of cool. So yeah, I was wondering what that was about. But what kind of plans do you have for new members that will want them to continue rebuilding the Pike chapter? Because I know obviously the hardest part is starting, and continuing, I would say, is the second hardest part. So are there any like incentives, or not necessarily incentives, but like do you have stuff that could how they're gonna benefit, and just like if you can tell them like from day one, be like, hey, if you do this, it may be a little difficult, but if you continue it out, this is what like this is how many doors will open for you. This will just really kind of just sell it, you know?
I think so. Less than 1% of fraternity men ever have had the opportunity to be founding fathers of their fraternity and chapter. I think that in itself is very unique. If you're a go-getter, if you want to be a leader, you have all the opportunity in the world to go and not only test yourself, but then push yourself to go achieve something that's outside the norm. I think that's really cool. Be able to go back and look at your own chapter and see the legacy that you laid there, and get to see different people now afterward to experience that. I think is really cool. You all have your own alumni that you get to have an excellent time sporting events or alumni events with your chapter. Being somebody that can say, I was the one that had the boots in the ground first and helped build this up, to look back, I think is always a pretty cool thing. It's unique.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, there's not like a cash bonus or a grade at the end of this or anything, but a lot of our alumni understand what it means to have to rebuild a chapter, and I think that their resumes end up top of the stack. Not all the time, but there's an easier sell for the fraternity experience when we can say there was nobody, and then all of a sudden there was these 100 or so men. We had to create these 6 programs, and by the way, my name's on the charter.
Mm-hmm.
So again, while it isn't anything super tangible that they can get from this experience, they'll leave that legacy, and they'll be one of the true founders of that chapter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so for Rush, I know you mentioned earlier when we were in our meetings talking about how you'll be rushing throughout the semester. Do you want to elaborate a little bit more on that? Because I know a lot of guys are thinking that either like after Rush, if it didn't go their way, they're done. Like it's not for them. But there's obviously plenty of opportunities for people to, just didn't have it, might not have been God's plan, and just trying to like encourage them to step through, make that difficult decision to start something new. But speaking with that as well, like even if there's guys that rushed like 2 or 3 years ago, like upcoming seniors or like upcoming juniors, like what are your words for them if they're ever deciding? Because I know a lot of guys, they'll see Rush, they'll think, oh, this is a sophomore thing, or this is a freshman, like this is specifically only for freshmen. If it doesn't work out freshman year, it's not for me. How can you encourage them to, even if it's been like 2 years, like you're an upcoming senior, like take that step?
Sure. So as we were talking about earlier today, we'll have a presence for formal recruitment during IFC formal recruitment, but our recruitment won't end on bid day. We're going to recruit the entire time our staff's here throughout that fall semester. So while we're looking for men that want to join a fraternity and are interested in exploring a Pike experience, we're also looking for men that may not have found their home and may have written off the idea of a fraternity altogether. Sophomores, juniors, into seniors. If a guy fits our values, if he wants a community and he's willing to step up and be a leader, we want him on board. And we're willing to have a conversation with him. We'd love to get our staff in front of him and just share what this experience is going to entail. So we love the upperclassmen. We want the sophomores. We want the juniors. And absolutely we'll take the seniors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I know there's plenty of people that were rushing being older, and I'm sure they enjoy it. Like, I can't imagine just thinking because of your age, it's going to stop you.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, fraternities aren't just 4 years, it's the rest of your life. But,
Absolutely, man.
So, what are you most excited about when you think of fall 2026?
Pike come back to Ole Miss, man. That's the simple answer. But getting staff on site. I mean, this is something we've been talking about for the last almost, we'll say 4.5, almost 5 years. Myself, our international president, and our executive vice president came down to campus about 1.5 years ago to talk to the IFC and get the formal blessing to return. And I mean, I get an email about once a week from a student that wants to join Pike or is interested in at least learning more. A dad that wants their son to end up becoming a Pike that's been a Pike from another campus. So the excitement's there. It's never been in an organized place because we haven't had anything to build. We've just been waiting until the fall 2026. So kind of my non-answer there, but yeah, it's just we're excited to have some traction starting in the fall.
To say that there's exciting things going on in Oxford right now, I think is an understatement.
True.
And so to say that Pike is going to be a part of that is fantastic.
It's definitely a great time to come back. I mean, everyone, it's buzzing. I mean, we're all kind of just like curious to see how it's going to go. Pike's such a big name nationally, and Ole Miss has like great branding as well. So it's definitely going to be
100%.
very, very interesting to see how it goes. But got a couple closing questions.
Cool.
If people take one thing away from this conversation about Pike's return, what should it be?
Well, for the unaffiliated men out there, there's an opportunity to be a founding father, leave your legacy, do a fraternity experience, but in a different way. It's unique. It doesn't sound like expansion happens a ton at Ole Miss.
No, we're if you go to our website, there's specifically a line that says "not open for expansion." So
there you go.
we've got large like national fraternities that have chapters everywhere, but Ole Miss, like, it'll be we'll get emails all the time, be like, "Hey, are you open to expansion? Open to expansion?" I mean, and the short answer is no. Like, it's just Ole Miss is such a small campus, such a tight knit community. Like, given the opportunity to come back is so rare. Like, I mean, I've been shown some of the emails, and I mean, people are offering a lot of stuff just to get back. Cause I mean, you can get your foot in the door at Ole Miss. You can get your foot anywhere.
Yeah.
Anything else?
We're good.
That's all we got, man.
Thanks for having us, man. Yeah, we're excited to be back.
Coming on. Yeah, we'll see y'all in the fall.
Absolutely, man.
See you fall.